If you had to walk down the street and pick out a drug lord, you could easily be mistaken, because sometimes it's the most unlikely people who are criminals. Well, take this first drug lord. He's a former chemist in his 70s, and he looks like any other retiree. But police suspect him of manufacturing illegal drugs, and they'll go to any lengths to stop him.
John Griffiths is in his late 70s. He lives in Pension of Paradise, Tweed Heads on the New South Wales-Queensland border. He blends into the slow-paced neighbourhood perfectly. Surrounded by retirement villages, clubs and golf courses, Griffiths doesn't draw any attention to himself. He appears to be just one of the many retirees attracted by the mild climate and relaxed lifestyle. Griffiths has spent much of his life with a legitimate job.
He was in fact a former chemist and had formal training in the past.
But this chemist was known to police. He'd been charged and acquitted of drug matters before.
He could be described as a bit of a character, but of course, in regards to our dealings with him, he was a criminal and he was a menace.
Police get a tip-off from a chemical supply company that Griffiths has sent through an order for large amounts of chemicals that could be used to make methcathinone. Methcathinone is a drug in itself, but it can be further developed to make ephedrine, and that can be sold to other drug makers to become speed and ice, methylamphetamine.
His intention was to sell the ephedrine to other manufacturers. They would then make methylamphetamine or speed from that, and obviously that can be sold for a great profit as well.
Each individual gram of methcathinone would sell for more than $150. So now police need to know if John Griffiths, nicknamed the Professor, has chemicals to make drugs in his possession. Police get a warrant and get inside a storage unit leased by Griffiths. Griffiths has no idea police are inside.
We knew that Griffiths was storing chemicals in a storage shed at Tweed Heads. Within a time frame of 24 hours, we needed to conduct a covert warrant.
What you're seeing is actual police footage.
PM have just entered Unit 36C.
Officers take a detailed inventory of the contents.
Firstly, we have a drum marked ethanol, 95%. Okay, this has 3 bottles inside it. First one is marked propionephenone.
Container after container of chemicals. Police want to follow the drug-making chemicals, see where they end up. Who else could be involved?
Now, with the chemicals that were found within that storage shed, we believe they had the capabilities of producing methcathinone.
Police have to search the storage unit thoroughly. They're looking for any identifying features, a scratch, a torn label, any unique marking, so they'll know if they see these same drums again in a drug lab.
On this drum, down here, there's some paint that has been scraped on that drum.
Knowing there are chemicals that could make drugs in his storage unit, police ramp up their surveillance on the Professor. They watch as he goes to Coolangatta Airport, where he meets with another man. That is PHILLIP Dodd. He's a 57-year-old former rally car driver from Sydney.
Crossing the road near the reception.
Within 24 hours, the pair rock up to the storage unit where the chemicals are housed, and police are filming.
Okay, I've got Griffiths passing the stuff out and Dodd loading it into the car, including the large white tins. Looks like they're putting pretty much everything in.
The containers are on the move.
Okay, they're coming out and the garage is going down.
PHILLIP Dodd leaves in the car with the chemicals, and police have to follow him. They leave Griffiths for the moment.
Lane 2 is behind the vehicle carrier.
Detectives need to know where the chemicals are headed. Early on, it becomes clear. They're in for a long drive. Dodd is headed to Sydney, and that's 10 hours away.
The greatest fear is that we wouldn't be able to maintain surveillance on him, that we would lose the vehicle when it was travelling.
Police managed to tail Dodd, and it finally pays off. The very next day, they're still watching as Dodd pulls over in a quiet Sydney street in the inner western suburb of Balmain.
He's back at the car, removing extra drums.
Detectives are filming as Dodd unpacks the chemicals. that were in the storage shed.
He's back into the boot of the car. He's pulling other boxes out. What are you doing?
We had to make a decision about exactly how far we wanted him to go.
And for police, this is far enough. Suspecting there is a drug lab inside, police calmly pull up alongside Dodd and make an arrest.
This states that you are under arrest at the time for conspiracy to manufacture a drug. Do you understand that? Yes.
He was totally shocked, and I think he sort of was speechless.
Okay, the time is now 12:50 p.m. and I'm just about to open the door to the premises.
The problem for police is even now they have no idea what's inside, whether drug making is already going on, and whether there is anyone else involved. They can't take any chances.
Police! Police!
Police are about to get into a house they believe could be a drug laboratory. They've arrested one man, a former rally car driver, PHILLIP Dodd.
Is there any hazardous chemicals or substances in the house that may harm those officers that are going inside the house?
But they still don't know what they could find inside.
Police. Police, police. Police, police. Police.
Police! Police! Clear.
First hurdle cleared. No one else is there. Now to find out just what they're dealing with. And that's a job for those best prepared in case any chemicals spill.
49 speed.
First bedroom, on a cursory look, there is nothing of chemical significance. Second bedroom, 20-litre drum, filled full of benzene.
Police take a closer look at the drums. Check out the label, the marking on the tin. Yes, those are the same containers, with the same ripped labels that were in the storage unit, hired by John Griffiths. Over the next hour, police find all the essential tools for making drugs.
The type of adapter, sodium borohydride, 500 grams.
They now know this is a clandestine drug laboratory. That brown liquid is the byproduct of an earlier process, and the litres of chemicals could have made kilos of drugs worth more than $100,000.
I'm not aware of any smell as I'm decanting that.
The man they arrested an hour earlier, PHILLIP Dodd, is taken to be charged. And 800 kilometres away, John Griffiths is also taken into custody.
And his defence for that same matter was that he was making a Viagra-like substance, that it wasn't prohibited drugs that they had actually made.
According to Griffiths, the professor, it's Viagra, and that's not illegal. John Griffiths is charged with manufacturing not less than a commercial quantity of a prohibited drug, and Dodd with conspiring to commit an offence. They both get bail, but that's not going to stop John Griffiths. Unbelievably, police learn that while he's on bail, the professor orders more chemicals.
Police trace the fresh order of chemicals and they're delivered to an address on the New South Wales Central Coast. And with this information, police search the property, of course. This is the actual police footage from the search of the house where the chemicals were delivered. The property belongs to this man, William Hudson. Hudson is an old mate of the professor's. Police believe chemicals for John Griffiths have been delivered here.
Can you tell me how you came to receive this order?
Yes, the truck pulled up, delivered it here. And I said, as long as it's not illegal. He said, it's not illegal. There it is.
Hudson was very matter-of-fact about the whole thing and came out with his excuses rather fluently, actually.
He makes no attempt to hide the chemicals that Griffiths has ordered. Police know it was ordered by Griffiths because his fake company name is on the slip.
The billing details are Louisiana Aromatics.
As the search continues, police find chemicals and plenty of tools that could be used to make drugs.
There's a funnel, kettle and general utensils.
Detectives are now satisfied Griffiths, the professor, as police call him, is still planning to make methcathinone, and detectives decide to arrest him again. They execute a warrant on the Sydney house where Griffiths stays, knowing anything they find here could be the final piece of evidence they need. An elderly woman answers the door.
Is Mr. Griffiths here at the moment? Well, where would he be?
More harassment?
Okay, Mr. Griffith, I'm placing you under arrest for the manufacture of a prohibited drug and conspiracy to manufacture a prohibited drug. Do you understand that?
I'm already on that charge.
Okay, this is a further matter.
They start their search in his room.
Mr. Griffiths, you didn't indicate there's a couple of boxes that you were concerned about. You wanted to be present whilst we had a look at?
Yep, that one there is for on the case before the Supreme Court where we're suing the government. And all that stuff's relevant.
Right.
Here. Well, this one here.
It's got nothing to do with our matters and we've got no interest what's
Yeah,
inside
okay,
them, but we'll have a look through them, make sure.
Sure. Can I have confidential letters from
No, that's
the
okay, that's fine. All you need to do, sir, is just to stand over there on the corner for me.
Sure. You want me to do it all?
No.
Okay. That's all that was.
In the box John Griffiths didn't want police looking in, detectives find something.
This is a type recipe based on my experience. Is highly unusual.
A recipe, a list of ingredients, including the chemicals Griffiths has ordered twice before, clearly for drugs, but legal or illegal? They'll ask the professor those questions back at the station. This is John Griffiths' actual record of interview, and this is what he says the recipe makes.
They think it would. The purpose of making that was a Park Davis patent for an appetite suppressant.
Appetite suppressant? What happened to Viagra?
I had a legal product that I could market under a contract I had with Noeling to export to China.
Police think it's another tall story, and detectives want to finish this case once and for all. Police have no choice but to follow the recipe, to do a cook themselves, to find out if it's diet pills, Viagra, or illegal drugs. Police have in their hands a drug recipe. It was found amongst the belongings of John Griffiths, a suspected drug manufacturer in his 70s, who claims the cocktail makes Viagra or diet pills, not the deadly illegal drug methcathinone.
The time is 11:20 a.m. and we're going to commence the process. It was unusual for us to take the steps to go and actually copy a criminal's recipe to make the drugs, but because it was Griffiths and this recipe and it kept cropping up, and he was clearly using it as a defence, the best way to shut him down and to shut down that defence was to prove that it did make the drugs.
They follow Griffiths' instructions to the letter.
There's a handwritten note, do not bubble, for this next step.
And after a number of hours, the police have their result.
We had the final products analysed and we found that it produced methcathinone, and that could also be turned into ephedrine, which they could then sell to other drug manufacturers to use a more conventional way of making methylamphetamine or speed.
No Viagra, no diet pills here, illegal drugs, just what police suspected. John Griffiths, the professor, was charged with manufacturing not less than a commercial quantity of a prohibited drug and conspiring to manufacture a prohibited drug. He received 3 years jail. PHILLIP Dodd was sentenced to 2 years and 4 months behind bars for conspiracy to commit a drug-related offence. William Hudson was charged with attempting to manufacture a prohibited drug and conspiring to manufacture a prohibited drug, and was sentenced to 3 years jail.
Not all drug cooks have specialised skills. Some are self-taught. But either way, they come up with illegal and often deadly concoctions. You're about to see a crackdown on a substance called PMA, paramethoxyamphetamine. It's sold to users who think they're buying ecstasy, and it's slow-acting, so the user thinks it's not working and takes another tablet and risks a fatal overdose. You can understand why police are desperate to crack down on the drug lord they found out was making it.
You're about to see the first arrest into a deadly new drug. It's called PMA. It first came to light from the tragic death of a young Sydney woman, Annabelle Catt.
While friends say she took ecstasy and by daylight she'd stopped breathing.
Annabelle was much loved and will be deeply missed by all who knew her.
Annabelle hadn't taken ecstasy. It was PMA, and she tragically would not be the only one to die. The technical name for the drug is paramethoxyamphetamine, but it's commonly known as PMA. It's a chemical cocktail, and no two batches are the same. It comes in a tablet. This tablet could be ecstasy or PMA. From looking at them, there is no way to tell them apart.
PMA has very pronounced hallucinogenic effects, more so than MDMA. However, the onset of the effects of PMA is actually slower, so therefore the feeling from the user is that the tablet is not working.
So the user takes another, and that next pill could kill. Police have to act. They know PMA is out there, being taken, killing, and they have to shut down those who are making the drug. But they have to find them first. And they never know where a lead may come from. Police on routine patrols pull over a van in Windsor, in Sydney's western suburbs. What's in the back of that van will be massive for officers. These are actual police photos. The beakers and glassware are telltale signs of a clandestine drug lab. Forensic tests tell police the white powder substance is in fact the deadly drug, PMA. They've got the drug. What else can they find on the glassware? Who is making the drug? Then on a beaker, a fingerprint. And the person who owns the print has no idea police are coming. Police are forensically examining a fingerprint found on glassware that's been used to make a deadly drug, PMA. They're hoping for a match, a hit with someone already known to police. And bingo, they get it. This is the man that owns the fingerprint. His name is Justin Ball, and police suspect he's making the drug PMA. Not the exact batch that was sold to Annabelle Catt, but a drug that's going to other young ecstasy users. It's the lead they need, and police put surveillance on Justin Ball and any of his associates. This is actual police footage.
Time is 3:10 p.m. We've got two dodgy looking blokes.
These two men are associates of Justin Ball, and they're at a herbal oil company.
We monitored the collection of the aniseed oil, 7 kilograms in total.
The boys are out carrying a box. Happy as Larry.
Aniseed oil. Yeah, sounds like there's not much in that, right? No. That aniseed oil has a dangerous side. It's a vital ingredient.
Aniseed oil contains anethol. Well, the majority of aniseed oil is anethol, which is the key precursor in the manufacture of PMA.
See, this is how it works. That oil starts out being completely innocent. Then the drug maker decides to heat it and whack in a few other chemicals. There's a fine line between when that oil goes from innocent to deadly and illegal. Once it's a drug, it's dried, pressed, and sold as a tablet. The buyer has no idea what's in it.
So police follow Justin Ball. They tail him to a property surrounded by bushland.
We started looking at 24-hour surveillance. We had officers monitoring, physically watching the premises around the clock.
And detectives are now convinced inside is a drug lab, the place where the deadly PMA is being made.
We had the lab site, we had the precursors there, everything's present. Now we're looking at the issue of timing. You know, when was this going to occur? We work closely with our forensic chemists, start working out how long does this process take? When's our best time to actually seize the lab and effect the arrest?
Remember, this is the first breakthrough into PMA. A decision is made to strike. And this is no ordinary raid. If this is an illegal laboratory, there's no way to know what deadly gases could be inside. Officers have to take every precaution. The only thing they do know is Justin Ball, The target is inside right now. This is real footage, filmed by police. That's their man, Justin Ball, handcuffed and arrested. The first person in Australia to be arrested for the production of PMA. Justin Ball is taken to the police station. Now detectives can get their first look inside. Again, they need to protect themselves from any dangerous fumes.
These are typical of drug laboratories where the drugs are made in squalid and sometimes filthy conditions.
It's not long before police suspicions are confirmed. In this box is the aniseed oil they saw Justin Ball's associates pick up, and it's been opened. And nearby they find a cluster of chemicals all used to make illegal drugs.
Sulfuric acid.
That there in the tub is PMA being made.
That contains clear liquid, possibly water. Sitting in that liquid is around about a litre. The cloudy orange liquid.
And the orange solution is the final stage of its manufacturing. It's still cooking. What's frightening is all the chemicals police have found could have made up to $5 million worth of PMA.
Which is sitting in this plastic storage container.
Justin Ball was convicted of manufacturing a prohibited drug and supplying a commercial quantity. He was sentenced to 5.5 years jail.